So anyway, if you're doing this, what we want is we want you to build a relationship. So let's say you come to the FDM call. Try to do it with your chocolatier. So I remember I've seen Rebecca Mason, I've seen Abby Helen, I've seen Jen Fitzgerald numerous times on that call because they like to use it, but they're doing it with them so that it feels like you're together. Here's another idea I shared yesterday on our small group coaching for the ones that was there is if you're ready to start doing it on and maybe it's the very first time, put in my video that I'm going to send you and you'll watch it together. You know, that's another way to do it. Even if you're at different places, you can screen share through Zoom. So look for ways, but it's all about that partnership. But like I said, ideally it was meant for you to do it. Secondly, the FDMs kind of put it in. So if I were in a perfect world, this is what I personally would do in today's world. I would offer it on Monday nights at 9 o'clock. And if they weren't able to attend my Monday night at 9, I would say, well, there's another option on Tuesday at noon and Tuesday at 7. And maybe I couldn't be on that with them, but if I could, I would. But you don't want to just jump all over it, because here's what happens. If you ask someone, when do you want to do it, they're going to pick a time you're not available. It's Murphy's Law. When you have 4 recruits in 1 week, and that will happen, ladies, as you grow, especially when you start supporting a bigger team, that some of them won't support their downline. That does happen, and you want to be there to pick up the pieces. You don't want to do this 4 different times. That's way too much time out of your schedule. Back to that, what we talked about last week, never traveling alone, taking people to parties. Same thing with this. You want to do it in group. Plus, just like you guys are getting to know each other, they start to form a bond at the same place that we do, like we do. And they're at the same place in their business, and it's really cool. So let's just, keep that in mind. So really, if you use that as your guideline and you watch it, I really think you'll find it very successful. Let's say you've got someone working on being a leader and they're not quite ready to do it. Then do the first one with them and their new recruit. And then have them do the second one and you listen in. That way you can critique, you can help, you can give constructive, I hate the word criticism, constructive suggestions, because it's not really criticizing, it is encouraging. So that's who should participate. Again, we've talked about how often. I say weekly, or unless you're not recruiting weekly. But if you're recruiting 3 a month, you probably are recruiting close to weekly. And so you want to, and I like having a set date, because then let's say your new chocolatiers recruit someone. They can just say, well, Treasure does her training on Sunday or nights at 9 o'clock, or Mondays at 8 o'clock, or Tuesdays at 10 in the morning, whatever it is. It starts to train them too, and it makes it, this is what it is. Only time I would suggest not doing it, it just would make sense. Don't do it at the exact same time the FDM does it, because that doesn't give you it, or the same day. I just wouldn't do it on Tuesday, because that doesn't give you a backup plan. So again, working smarter, not harder, okay? And this training should take an hour, 1 hour, almost exactly. You've been on with me, I am done in an hour. If I only have like 2 people on the call, a lot of times I'm done in 45 to 50 minutes because there's not a lot of questions. So when you're doing this, and you'll see all of this mimicked in the and reinforced in the video. I start out by welcoming them. I start out by asking that they don't have background noise, of course, to put that, put their phones on mute if I start to hear background noise. On a Zoom, you can do this conference call, but you can get a free Zoom, or you're doing it face to face. Oh, I'm glad I said that. This is not in my notes, and I need to put it in here. If you are doing it face to face, like in the same room, there's good and there's bad. But if you do it face to face, do it on your turf, not theirs. Because if their baby cries and you're in their house, you can't say, don't go get the baby. If their doorbell rings and they stand at the door and talk to someone for 20 minutes, there's nothing you can do about it. You're in their home. Whereas you can control the environment in your own home. You can make arrangements for your children. You can choose not to answer the door. You can say, I'm training. You choose not to answer your phone. But you can't tell someone, what to do in their own home. So either choose a neutral ground like a coffee shop or something like that, or your turf. Does that make sense to everybody? Really important. The only reason I don't like doing it face-to-face is I've had people say they were recruiting their sister in Albuquerque, let's say. They'll go, but you're not going to be here to train me, and your sponsor was there to train you. Whereas if you do it on Zoom or telephone, it doesn't know distance. You can live next door, or you can live 500 miles or 5,000 miles from me, and it doesn't matter. And I just think it sets them. I'd rather go meet you for coffee and talk after your first party or before your first party. That's not to say I love one-on-one, don't get me wrong. But I think you can create a really good kind of structure using these things. Another reason you do it on your turf or where you want to do it is because it takes them just as long to get to you as you to get to them. I hate to tell you. When they go, well, you live really far. Well, you live really far too. So they come to you. But really it's about controlling the environment. Make sure you're very professional and prepared too. It's really important. I always tell people I'm going to keep this to an hour because that holds me accountable. Just like I've told you guys in these calls, we've done a pretty darn good job of starting on time and ending on time. And doesn't it make you feel good to know I can trust her when she says this, right? All right, so I started off by setting some boundaries. And then I say, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over 2 to 3 sections. There's 10 sections, 2 to 3 at a time. And then I'm going to stop and ask if there are any questions regarding that section. So if anything comes up, if you'll do me a favor so we can stay timely to our 1 hour, because you will get people that love to take you way off base, write them down, and then at that break, if I haven't answered them, we'll answer your questions. Then I do 2 to 3 again, break. There's some natural breaks in there, and you'll feel them. You'll know the natural breaks. Like I usually do one right after number 1, commit to a quick start, because that's where I review all the benefits of quick start and what they get and how your 90 days, how the Cocoa Cash matching bonus is not a 90-day program. It's a never-ending program. Are you guys really familiar with how that program works and how much money you can make? Okay, I've got some heads going, so perfect. I'm going to explain that right now. This is a really big part. This is the way you earn your overhead. I always tell people it is my goal for you not to spend your money on your business, which is very unusual. If I own a McDonald's franchise, I have to buy my burgers out of my profit. I have to buy my cups out of my profit. I have to pay my rent out of my profit. Our goal through the matching quick start Cocoa Cash bonus is that we pay for all of that for you. Remember, I've said it a bunch of times. Mr. Mars has a lot of money. He has more money than all of us put it together, and I'm just guessing, but unless we all together make billions and billions, he's richer than us, okay? Anybody want to separate themselves from the group and say you're the billionaire too? You probably wouldn't be sitting on this Zoom call right now. You'd probably be in Tahiti drinking a cocktail. I know I would. I used to say I'd never quit if I won $100 million, but I tell y'all, I might quit if I won $100 million at this stage of my life. But anyway, what we do is, so when you're in Quick Start, in your first 90 days, you get a $125 bonus when your first recruit joins. And I don't say qualifies with $200. What I say is when they turn in their first party in 45 days, because I don't want to talk minimums. I don't want them out just getting 200. I want them holding parties, because parties beget parties beget parties beget parties. Whereas somebody can go get $200 and stop, right? Or they can hold a party that's $500. So I always say, the way I word it to create a better picture is, you're going to get a $100 bonus when your new recruit joins and turns in their first party in 45 days, because a party has to be $200. It's not a party. It's not a qualified party if it's not $200. So it's one of the same. Then when you get your second recruit, or the second person that qualifies, so it might be their fourth recruit that qualifies second, right? When the second one qualifies, you get $125, and when the third and higher, you get $150 each, and that's unlimited. However, During that 90 days and for the rest of your life, when you recruit someone and they recruit someone, so Lindy recruits Robin, Robin recruits Amber. So Lindy is not in her 90 days, and but Robin is, okay? So Lindy recruited Robin. Robin gets, and when she qualifies, well, she's not in her 90 days, so it doesn't matter. But while Robin recruits Amber, and Amber qualifies in her first 40, because Robin's in Quick Start. Amber, when Robin recruits Amber, let me see if I say this right, she's going to get $100. That's her first recruit, right? Well, Robin's still in Quick Start, so Lindy is going to get a matching $100 Cocoa Cash bonus. So when any of your recruits get a qualified recruits when they're in Quick Start, you get a matching bonus. So they get the money, you get a match. We have people that literally have $7,000 in their Cocoa Cash account right now. Becky Grant paid for every single one of her team members' conference registration last year. What a nice gift. I told her next year, challenge them, make them do something smarter, because some took it and then didn't go and she couldn't get her Cocoa Cash back. So make them work for it. But you can make a lot of money. And Cocoa Cash can pay for all your paper supplies. It can pay for all your products. It can pay for your conference registrations. When you become a manager, you can start gifting it. So let's say Sheila becomes a manager and she wants to run a promotion on her team. Everybody that sells $1,000 this month, I'll give you an additional $25 in Cocoa Cash because she's got $2,000 in Cocoa Cash sitting. So this is a great example. So I'm going to use this. So Rebecca Mason is Rebecca Graham's upline. Rebecca, have you had your first recruit qualify yet?
I've had one of my recruits qualify.
Okay, so you're getting a $100 cash bonus, right? And even though Rebecca Mason has been in the business for years and years, she's going to get $100 in Cocoa Cash. Doesn't matter if she's in Quick Start or not. So I want to make sure everyone's clear on that. Lots of money. So I review the Quick Start program and make sure they understand it. And I always talk recruiting first, just like the flyer shows. And also make sure people know it's third and above at $150. It's not, and it's for 90 stinking days. It's a long time. It's really 104 days. Y'all know that, right? Because they give them a 2-week grace period for the kit to come in and all that. Now, the 45 days is a true 45, but the 90 is really 104. The next thing is, in your team incentives, when you look at My Team on your dashboard, if you scroll down, there's My Team Incentives, and there's a drop-down screen. There's Quick Start Recruiting, Quick Start Sales, and Maui. And you can actually see like how many points they have, when their last day is, how close they are to earning the next level. Now, if you don't have recruits, you can't see that. Okay, and you may not see that until you're a team leader. I need to double check, but it's a great tool. Treasurer saying you can see it immediately.
No, I have Brandy and she has qualified and I cannot see all of that. I can only see your sales up to this point.
Okay, then it must be when you become a leader. Rebecca, can you see it? Are you in that screen or no?
I'm getting it. Sorry, I'm working on a laptop, no mouse. I work slower this way. I mean, I can see.
Scroll down past your My Team details and underneath it.
Oh, yes.
My Team incentives.
Helps if I look further down the page.
I didn't know till about a year ago, and I was here for 3 years. So I'm not kidding. I did not know. So if you didn't know for a week after you became a leader, it's no big deal. And you'll see there's a drop down there, and it says like Quick Start. Then you drop down the screen. It says Quick Start Recruiting, Quick Start Sales, Maui.
I have Quick Start Recruiting, Selling, and Maui.
Yeah. And then now you can see where your team is.
Now I see it, Lori.
Okay,
now
good.
I see
So with your first recruit, isn't that a great tool? Let me tell you another great thing. It has nothing to do with getting Chocolatier is off to a great start, but a lot of people don't know this either. As your team grows and gets really big, you're going to want to view different things about your team. So when you pull up My Team Details on your screen, it pops up what we call a tree view. Mm-hmm. So it has you, and then it has your recruits, and if they have a recruit, it'll have like a little square with a plus, and you click on it, and it becomes a minus, and then it puts their people under them, and you can get it, like that where they're connected. However, I really like to look at things in a list. So if you open that and you make a list view, this is what I love. A lot of people do not know this, and then you hit expand all. That's at the top right of that screen. Not only will you see what's on that, you won't just see the screen, you'll see all of their contact detail as well when you export it. And it's really great because that's what I work from all the time, because I can open it, then I can filter by state, I can filter by sales, I can filter by recruits. In my Excel spreadsheet, and if you need help in Excel, I'm not an expert, but I do know how to do a few little things. And it's really a great tool. But expand all, and then you want it to pull all rows when you go to export, and it'll be your new favorite tool. How many of you knew that was there, or how to use it? Good. I'm glad y'all learned something. It'll really help you. You'll love it. Okay. So you're going to go through the 10 steps. In step 1, you're reviewing actually the quick start flyer. Step 2, you're reviewing their calendar and planning. And you're going to talk about how important it is to own your schedule. Even if you can do parties any day, it's better to pick some. I think, was it you, Robin, or maybe Sheila? I can't remember. Maybe neither of you. But one of you guys, I had a conversation with one day. I'm not falling out of my chair, y'all. My foot's itching. Sorry, I'm going to fall over. That someone said to me, "Oh, I can do parties just about any time." And I said, "But I want you to pick specific days, because when you can do them just any time, you don't know if you're there or not, because it could always be the next day. So you want to have some sort of business schedule. Doesn't mean it can't flip-flop." So when I talk to them about planning their schedule, I ask them to look on the next page. And there's I think it's a 7-week calendar that's just blank. It's like a grid. And I tell them to go to their last day of their 45 days. Let's say it's Tuesday the 19th. So they would go to the last Tuesday on that calendar, right in the 19th, and then number it backwards. So they see how much time they have left in their 45 days. Because we want them to use all of their coupons, their 3 recruiting coupons, and we want them to use their party coupons, right? Mm-hmm. So then I see what I want you to do is I need you to pick out, now that you see your time, I want you to write in, this is where you're going to write in everything that you can't change. If you go to church on Sunday mornings, and that's important to you, then you should block off Sunday mornings. They're not going to change church to Tuesday because that works better for you. If you work a full-time job, if it's your mother-in-law's 50th birthday, and you're going to have a birthday party, mark that night off. It doesn't go over well if you're not there because you had a party. If going to a game is really important, or you have a date night planned, mark them off. Own your business. Don't let your business own you. Now, I want you to pick out 10, depending on how many coupons you have left, and most will still have their full 8 at this point because they just started in the last couple of days. I want you to pick out 10 time slots. And I explain time slots doesn't mean 10 days. You might do 2 on a Saturday. They don't work outside the home. They might do a lunchtime party and a night party during the day. There's lots of ways you can do this. Pick out 10 time slots on that calendar that you want to hold parties. That's the most convenient 10 time slots. Now you know your work schedule. And it becomes, why do I have them do 10, not 8? Because we all know life happens. And you need some flexibility. So that's what I do in that section. Now, they don't have time to do all that then, but I give them a little bit of time to at least start it, to get in their head, so they know. talk about scheduling their launch as one of the first if they can. Something that's really important is that some people think your launch has to be your first party. It doesn't. You can have a launch every month. You have a launch every week. It just usually makes sense that it's the first party. Create their contact list. I tell people all the time that, when they start creating their contact list, most people are going to get stuck anywhere between 12, 15, and maybe 25, 30, depending on how big their everyday circle is. So I did this once at a sales meeting. I had about 200 people in the room. And I said, okay, I want everybody to make their contact list. I forget how many I said. And I gave them like 2 minutes to come out, or 5 minutes or something to come out with 20 people. Very few people did. So then I held up a $100 bill. And I said, I'm going to set my timer for 2 minutes, and the person whose list is the biggest at the end is going to get this $100 bill. You would have been amazed how many names they came up with. Talking about changing a mindset of getting out of your comfort zone, right? Because that forced them to think differently. And we got to help them see that. If I gave you $1 million, you'd probably come up with 1,000 names somehow. How many of you have 100, 200, 300, 500 people on your Facebook right now? Now, you can't think of every name right now, but they're there. They're contacts. How many of you have, who knows, I don't think there's anyone that shows me how many contacts you have in your phone. I would bet that unless you have 50 or less, no one on this call has ever contacted every single person in their phone. And contacted everyone they're comfortable with. And that's okay. I'm included in this. I'm part of this call. You haven't talked to everybody on your Facebook page. Talk to everybody you're comfortable with. We do have the contacts. We have to change our motivation. And I talk to them about that. We talk about how to invite. We give them word choice. And guess what? They're written right there. You can read them to them. And then they say, you're going to read this over and over, and it'll become your own words. I always tell people I'd rather them read than not ask. And that's the truth. I'd rather you read a script than not ask. You know how many companies out there are filthy, stinking rich because their telemarketers read a script. So scripts do work. They're not ideal, but they obviously work. Wouldn't you agree? They work, or people wouldn't be doing them 100 years later. They still use scripts in telemarketing. Talk about observing parties. I always encourage someone to observe a party before their launch and then after their launch. So maybe go on another one with you in between the day you meet them and their launch party. It's another reason to always have 3 parties on your calendar so you have enough that they can choose from. I mean, it really sucks if you have to look at your recruiter and go, well, I don't have another party for 3 weeks. And then I think, well, this must not be a very good business. So we want them to know that it is a good business. And then say, after they've held a couple of parties, have them go on and party with you. Or if you're fortunate to live in an area like Sheila, they have a lot of chocolatiers right in their area, for their area. I mean, not like they're not by any means saturated. But she might say, why don't you go and pick someone else you admire on our team and go. Totally different personalities. Sheila and her upline Jen are really different personalities. I think Rebecca and Rebecca are really different personalities. Each of you have, and that person may learn differently from someone else, and it's really good to use. I'm here, and I was with Vanessa O'Rourke last night, and she did a challenge with her team to not let her go to a party alone for an entire month. So she had like 11 parties, I think, that month, and so she said it wasn't just my team. Because I really wanted to make my I really wanted to challenge myself. She goes, so I was getting people from other teams to go. And you know what? You do a better job because you're kind of on showcase. You remember to do your full service checkout because they're watching you and you're going to talk about it. You do your power statement because they're watching you. You do everything you're supposed to do because someone's watching you. It really, I'll never forget, there was a lady one time I went and I didn't have a trainee with me, and she goes, well, where's your assistant? And I go, my assistant? She says, yeah, you've always had someone with you and you come, doesn't the company provide you an assistant for your business? I'm like, no, the company does not provide me. But good idea. But it really, that's how much I believe in that. Also talk about, the next one is spreading the word. How do they spread the word? Talk about, scavenger hunts and introducing yourself. I know yesterday on our call, Rebecca shared that she was on a date weekend with her husband, and they had gone to the bar in the hotel, and she ended up meeting a really cool person there. And it didn't monopolize her weekend, but it was just a great connection. Jennifer Davis, who couldn't be on today, ran into an old cousin, or it was the stepdaughter of her sister-in-law or something like that at a wedding. And it's funny because Rebecca's person was going to a wedding. It must have been a good wedding weekend. And hadn't seen her in forever and reconnected at a place, where that she didn't go to do Dove, but it happened naturally. Teach them how to do that. Teach them to dream big. Don't limit themselves. I'm just going to tell you, I don't know that we ever completely let go of that. Just like some of you that have struggled with your list of 10, and I've said to you, the reason you're struggling is you're still trying to figure out who would say yes, but you keep forgetting you have a magic wand. You got to dream big. When I took over the Bravo region last year, it was a year and a month ago, October 1st of 2014, we are the smallest volume of all 5 regions, excuse me. We had the smallest volume. The last 3 months, we've had the largest volume, and we've had the most growth. But I started saying to everybody, when they'd ask me, what do you want? I'd say, I didn't even say the largest volume. I said, I want to be the fastest growing region in the nation. If somebody grows 10%, I want to grow 11. If somebody does this, I want to do, because I didn't think I could compete with the numbers. I didn't think I could, the West. I didn't think I can't compete with the West. They've got all those big, heavy hitters out there. There's no way I can ever compete with the West. Well, we beat everybody the last 3 months. And it's because I allowed myself to dream big. Did I set some limitations? Yes. But I started letting go of them. I wanted to take, last year, my team, that small little team, we only took 42 total people to Aruba. So I thought, well, my goal is to increase my sales by 20%. I should take 20% more, so that would be 63 people to Aruba. But I got out of my own way and I set a goal for 75. I want 75 people for my original region. Now it's going to be really fun because we're going to have tons and tons of people. But I let myself dream and believe it could happen. Right now, we have more people going to Aruba than any other region. Because I let myself believe it could happen. I didn't limit myself to a 20% increase. I don't know where I came up with the number 75, but that's what I came up with. So allow you too, but you've got to believe it so they believe it. And then take your first steps to maximizing your earnings. And that's where you say, if I could show you how just completing your quick start in your 90 days can add more income forever, would you be interested? I avoid using the word leader because sometimes immediately they'll go, no, I don't want to be a leader. If I could show you how completing that quick start in 90 days, because everyone that completes their quick start in 90 days always ends up a leader. I've not seen it happen yet. When I say complete it, meaning they have 3,000 in their first 90 days and 3 recruits in their first 90 days. So and that's where you find out if someone goes, no, I'm just going to do this for fun. By the way, I just want y'all to know that Rebecca Graham wasn't going to do this as a leader either. Remember, she was going to just try it maybe and see what happens. And it's really working. But that's okay. Sometimes we have to allow ourselves an out in case we don't like it or we don't feel like we're succeeding. That's okay. But it was about 24 hours later, she saw the light. And when people started responding positively to her, the parties and that kind of thing, she believed more. Hey, I really am going to go to Maui. This can really happen. So that is what that call is about. You're just going to go in detail. It is written very well. You should have your copy from your kit. If you don't, I can send it I'm not sure if it's on supply, but every time I send out, not every time, sometimes I forget. What I send out my, holy moly. I always try to copy the leaders and above on that invitation that I send. And by the way, this is what I do. I send every new recruit. I've got to check now that Molly's doing recruiting. I mean, doing all the welcome calls, and she's doing the invitation too. I'm writing that on my notes for Michelle right now. Send QS invite and welcome. I always try to remember to copy the leaders. I know you're not in your first 3 weeks, but I send it to everybody, gets it 3 times. So I go back 3 weeks every Monday and I pull the list, and that's who I send it to. Then I copy leaders and above. As a reminder, if you need a refresher, if your business in the tank, get on the call. If you've got someone that's struggling, it's real basic, get them back on that call. It's just good basic training. So that is that on the quick start. Before we kind of go through our next, what do we have left? We have about 25 minutes. Does anybody have any questions on the kickoff to quick start? Either how to do it, when to do it, questions about the material, anything like that? I do attach the book electronically. They should have it in their kit, but if they join the day before, and I have had people do that, you know, join and they just happen to get the invite and they jump right on. So I do attach the book electronically, and I also attach the kickoff quick start flyer. So they have those. Rebecca?
And where is the book electronically?
I can send it to you. I don't know if it's out there electronically, but I'll send it. Today I'm going to send y'all the my call. I'll attach the 2 forms that I send with it also. And I'll copy what I send. I'll just forward you this. I'll forward you the invite that I send them every Monday. I'll have them automatically attached so you can see the wording, what they're getting, that type of thing. And then I'll also send out the recording of the call. I'll attach it.
Perfect.
Scroll way down.
I actually have someone that's signing on tomorrow night, so I will be doing her quick start. So that's why I'm trying to pay close attention. So anything that you have that you can send me to help, please do.
Okay, here's the thing, ladies. Keep it simple. Do not make them some kind of freaking fancy. I went to this lady's house, and she goes, okay, I want to show you what I have. And I kid you not, she had a binder like this thick.
That's me.
She had made it, get rid of it. Keep it simple. You're going to overwhelm them. They're going to run.
This is what I'm sending her, or I'm taking to her this little notebook.
Okay.
But for me personally, I have everything printed you could possibly print.
Here's the thing, though. You don't want to, maybe you hold off till she holds a party or two. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
You want to make this as simple as possible. You don't want her thinking, I've got to make flyers or I need to copy all these flyers. All you want her focused on is booking her first 6 to 8 parties. That is it. Maybe you give her that after she books her first 3 as a congratulations.
Well, this has the quick start book, her chocolatier agreement, her business kit flyer, this thing.
Okay, she's going to get all of that in her kit.
Okay.
Remember? Now, I'm not saying don't give it to her. Just make sure, and if you feel really strong about giving it to her, here's your thing. You don't want them, you want them to see ease. So they get, in their kit, they have that little book. That's all they need. The flyer and their calendar. They can either pull the one out they get in their kit. They can use that little calendar in their page if they don't have it yet. Just don't overwhelm them.
Okay.
When she wants to learn about fundraisers, that's when you give her the fundraiser flyer that you've made. Or if you want to learn about corporate gifting, that's when you give them that. If you try to feed them the whole elephant at one time, they're going to throw up.
Right.
It's not
pretty simple. It just, like I said, it just had those couple of things. And then the November and December flyer, because her party is the 21st. So I wanted her to have that.
That's great. And that's
that party.
Here's the only other thing. You said you've got the Kickoff to Quick Start book, so you ordered extras of those? Is that what you
No, they send you 4 in your kit. I got 4 in my kit.
4 what?
Well, I only got 1.
This.
Okay.
I had 4. I kept one, and I had 3 for each recruit in my 90 days.
Oh, that's one that I did not know that. You got 2?
I want to say that I had a couple extra, maybe 1 or 2 extras in my kit. Because I know I have I have a whole section in my closet totally devoted to this, and I think I've just got 1 extra. So like there was 1 for me, and then I think there was 1 extra.
Because probably what you could do is trade that out with your first one, and then get hers and trade it out and trade it out and trade it out. Let me ask, did any of the others of you, Sheila, I think you joined before this started. Robin, do you remember, or Lindy or Katrina, or any of y'all remember if you got extras in your kit?
I think I only had 1 extra.
So you got 2, but you got 4?
I had 4 in all.
Okay.
I don't remember getting extra.
Okay, let me find out what you're supposed to get. Because I didn't know they sent any extra, quite honestly.
Lori, I have a party Sunday that girl's going to actually sign up Sunday too.
Excellent.
And I'm trying to make sure I get her off to a good start. I've already had 1 sign up, and she's flying.
Good.
So she's doing really good, but I've got another one signing up.
That's awesome, Lindy. So here's the thing. If you do have an extra book, especially if you're driving a ways to do their launch, if they're available, there's nothing wrong with saying, can I stay after for an hour and we get your kickoff to quick start? Or can I come an hour before and we talk about this? Whatever works. I always find an hour after is better, because if you go an hour before, their head's really wondering, is she going to show up? Do I need to make my dip? Is it ready? Or afterwards, you can kind of talk about the party and that type of thing. So if you are driving to do that launch and it's really quick after they joined, it's not 2 or 3 weeks out, or they're joining on the spot or converting, you can actually have them do it right afterwards. Are you talking to me about where am I? Treasure or Lindy? Treasure? Treasure's in North Carolina.
No, I'm in Georgia.
Georgia. Okay.
Just curious.
All right. So, yeah, I think I'm glad y'all brought that up. I had no idea. So if you are going out to do a launch and they are close, or a host conversion, great opportunity to start your training immediately.
I actually convinced her to sign up this Friday so that she can use her party next Saturday as her launch party.
Great. Yeah. That way she'll get more benefits from it. That's awesome.
We'll both get more benefits from it.
Absolutely. All right. Anything else? Okay. Let's see. Where are we on time? Okay. Moving right along. So in their first few, this is really very important. And I'm going to give you a quick analogy. So I've moved quite a bit in my life, not compared to a lot of people, but with my jobs and different things. And I think about when I've had to find a new church. And for many people joining Dove, it's kind of like going to a church. They're looking for relationships. They want to feel very welcome. They want to feel encompassed, that people care about them, things like that. So I want to just give you an example. So I go to this new church and I like it, and I meet someone that I can kind of relate to. And let's say it's Lindy. And she says, Lori, we're so glad you're here today. If you need anything this week being new to the area, please just give me a call. Here's my phone number. How many of you think, let's say my car gets a flat tire. How many of you think I'm going to call Lindy?
Yeah.
Not. Because the first time someone says that, we feel like it's that obligatory, I just say it, the pad thing. All right. So then I go back to the church on the next Sunday, and she asked how your week was, blah, blah. And as we're talking, somehow my flat tire came up. And she's like, I told you should have given me a call. I'd have been happy to help. But I said, I understand, but I didn't want to be a bother. Da, 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 da. And so she said, but I'm serious. Just call me if you ever need me. The next week I need a babysitter. How likely am I to call Lindy and say, do you know any babysitters? Depending on the person, probably between 30 and 50%. Right? Because she said it twice now. I'm the person that doesn't call her, though, because I'm on the side that I'm in the 70 to 50% that doesn't call. So then Lindy calls me though, the day before I needed that babysitter. And she's like, well, how are you doing? What's going on? I'm like, oh, it's so good to hear from you. Are you getting settled in? Yes. Is there anything you need help with? Well, actually, I need a babysitter. Why did I say it then, but I wouldn't call her? Because she reached out to me. So this is what so many of us do, and I work really hard. They're a new recruit. We get them started. We say, if you need anything, give me a call. And guess what they do? They don't call you. They're their first week in church. They don't feel like they have that relationship. They think you're giving them the pat answer. And then they have something happen at their party and you go, why didn't you call me? I told you to call me if you needed anything, right? And I really mean that. Well, they have something else come up. They don't. It takes a while for about 80% to reach out to you early on. Maybe 20% will. But do you want to build your business on a 20% hope? No. So I always say during their first 90 days, especially their first 45, you need to be doing the reaching out. So maybe so this is what I did. I had a big desk calendar. Now you probably use electronic. First off, when someone's actually the teamupcalendar.com is what I would use. Every time a new person booked parties, I put them on there whether they did or not. So I'd say, oh, Treasurer, when's your next party? Or Katrina, how many parties do you have this week? When are they? Who are they with? I would put that on there. So when I call Katrina back, it's the day of her party, and I know she's at work, but it's okay. I just want to leave a message. Katrina, I just want you to know, I know you're going to do a great job tonight at Treasurer's Party. Y'all are going to have so much fun. Don't forget, you're not through till you book 2. If you want more, book 4. And tomorrow, let's talk about the 3 people that you met that you thought would make great business partners. All right, that's it. Leave her a message. So she hears my voice. It pumps her up a little bit. The next day, I call her and go, hey, Katrina, I just wanted to call. I wanted to hear about your new bookings and who you picked out. I never said how'd the party go. 9 times out of 10, it doesn't go as well as they wanted. Unless it's like $1,000 and 4 bookings and 2 new recruits. And it's not like the common on their first party. Actually, it's not the common anytime, but it's certainly not usually on the first party. So I'm reaching out, right? And I would always tell her, if you need anything, call me, but I'll be touching base with you also. Then maybe I always have a stack of cards on my desk, a stack of postcards. So after that first party, I might just write, great job. I'm glad you had a good time. I can't wait to talk to you again about your next party. And then, so 3 days later, something just shows up in the mail, right? Then our team meeting is coming up. So I call her and I say, hey, Katrina, would you like to ride to the team meeting with me? Maybe we can have coffee afterwards or stop for a Coke on the way or whatever. Now, 3 weeks into the business, Katrina's more likely to call me if she needs something, isn't she? Because that old saying, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, is really, really true when working with a new chocolatier. So I actually have a senior manager right now. She's amazing. But she's one of those people that I'll call you if I need you. And her team's really not growing and she's actually recruiting. We had a really heart-to-heart the other day. And I had to say to her, I said, can I make an observation? And I said, I really believe it's because you are so independent. When you say, call me if you need me, you really mean it. But people don't get it. And you really do call someone if you need it, but you don't need much. And she said, you're probably right. Because, I give them the training. I do this, I do that. Another thing is we've got to follow up. I have another senior manager I was talking to the other day that's really good. She's a great trainer. She goes through a quick kickoff to quick start. She tells them everything she needs to do. But she's realized she doesn't have a follow-up system. So she tells them to book their 8 parties in their first 45 days, but that she doesn't inspect what she expects in a soft and training kind of way. So that's my job going forward with you guys as an ongoing coaching, is to continue to help you. You're not going to learn this all overnight, but that relationship is so incredibly important. And it's built through taking them to a training party. Hey, come go to my party with me tonight. I'll pick you up. Or meet me there. Or meet me at the Kroger down the street. Whatever. If it's out of the way, don't pick them up. And if they tend to be late, don't pick them up. You need to start your party on time. And I tell people, I always say, if I get there at 5:30, you need to get there at 5:30. If they get there when the party starts, I tell them, don't come in. That's not fair to my host. It doesn't look very good that my trainee is late. My reputation's at stake. So, make sure you're there by 5:30. If I know the party's at 6, I say, after 6, you can't come in. I'm sorry, but, now if they text me and there's some major accident or, I'm not like mean, I'm not an ogre, but we need to be prompt, right? We need to teach that professionalism. But there'll be different things, and you have some different things. Like, it even gives you ideas of what to talk about. Like, maybe your first call after, talk about their host coaching. How'd they feel about it? Did they feel confident? Did they use the Tic Tac chocolate? Maybe in a call 3 or 4 days later, you might talk about overcoming objections. Maybe a week later, you talk about the full service checkout. Things that they might have an idea of, but they need more grounding in them. So it gives you like 7 or 8 topics here. And by then, you've started to build. And you see if they're engaged or if they kind of just want to do their own thing. And guess what? It's okay if they want to do their own thing. I always tell people, you can build a fantastic team with 100 people doing $200 a month. That's $20,000. And then you have a few hot shots that rise from that, come out of that and rise up. You have $40,000 before you know it. So not everybody needs to be a hot shot. But you match your time with their effort. And effort doesn't necessarily mean their amount of sales. Sometimes when they're brand new, they're giving a lot of effort. I have some senior managers and directors that I give a lot of time to. But I have some I give none to, because nothing I do is going to change their behavior. They're very independent. They like where they're at. They're comfortable. They'll call me if they need me. Then I have brand new leaders I give just as much time to. So the amount of sales on the page doesn't necessarily mean the effort. Effort means I want to grow. I'm going to put to work. I'm going to commit just like you guys have. I'm going to commit to a series. I'm going to do the follow-up. I'm going to put it to work. I'm going to be part. That's what effort is. Showing up is not the effort. Doing it afterwards is the effort. It's easy to show up and sit here. It really is. I'm doing all the work right now. You're just having to, you could be just listening, or you can be engaging like you guys have been. So keep that in mind. We are out of time just about. I have a couple of things I want to talk to you about. Number one, next week, we decided we were doing our call on Tuesday instead of Thursday. If everybody remembers, I didn't. I had it on Friday. They reminded me yesterday. I said Tuesday. So we'll do it Tuesday from 11:30 to 12:30 Central, 12:30 to 1:30 Eastern. I know that for some of you, or if there's somebody that can't be on that because of a work schedule or a previous commitment, because I, of course, didn't know about Mitch's surgery when I put the dates in, I will record it so you don't miss that last one. Now, with that being said, I usually have a Monday coaching group, a Monday night, and then we'll be done. So those of you that are in the Mondays, who's on here that's in the Monday group? Treasure? Either in the rest of you in the Mondays? Okay. I mean, here's what I'm going to say.
I can change it. It's not a big deal.
I don't even know that we need to do it. If there's only going to be one day of it, maybe we have an extra half hour or something on Tuesday that says if you wanted some coach, if you wanted it, it wouldn't be a mandatory jump on. Those of you that are real involved in the coaching, does that suit your fancy? And then the other thing that I'd like you to email me today is if you'd like to be in an ongoing coaching group. An ongoing coaching group, again, it's kind of like the small groups. We'll have a topic depending on the group. Sometimes my group decides the topic and they tell me. Sometimes each person, there's 4 people, each person gets 10 minutes and we talk about what's specific. Sometimes there's a training topic and I train to it. It can be whatever the group wants. If you'd like to be in one of those, it can either be weekly or bi-weekly. It can be day or evening. You just need to send me a text or an email that says, I want to be part of a group. Daytime or evening or afternoon, whatever works best for me, or lunchtime, whatever. you need to tell me if you know people you'd like to have in your group. Maybe you really feel like you've connected or learned from some people and you'd like to be in a group with them. I do try to get them somewhat like close. I'm not going to put you with a brand new leader with a director or a future leader with a senior manager. I try to use like your experience as a guide, and of course time. It's not going to be perfectly matched up. And ideally, if it's weekly or bi-weekly. So for example, if I have 5 people that come to me and say they want to do a daytime and they're all about the same and they want to do it weekly, and you're the 6th one and you say you want to do it bi-weekly, then we'll just agree that if that's the only group that really works for you, then we would just agree you would only come bi-weekly. It wouldn't be a problem. Okay? And it's not like you can never miss, but I do like a commitment because others are counting on you. Just like when we do our small group, you learn, how many of you say you learn just as much from the others' questions as you did from your own, right? So that's why I do it. So just send me an email, preferably, because I can save it better than finding it in my text. And I'm going to try to get those started after Thanksgiving. But you'll know way before, you'll probably know by the end of next week because I'm on vacation the week after Thanksgiving. And if there's like, I know Sheila, there's certain days that you can't do things. If there's certain days, like I could never do it, I'd rather do an evening, but Tuesdays and Thursdays never work. You know, that kind of thing. Put that in there. And I'm not going to say I can meet 100% of everybody's wants and desires, but I'll do my very best. So, all right. So our homework this week is to really use the kickoff to quick start, to recruit, to use your Cocoa chats. To finish, I have to give Robin Edwards a big, huge shout out. She is the first to complete her 21 days to success. What I loved what Robin told us yesterday was that she's completed it, she's taking 2 or 3 days off, and then she's starting it again. That's how much value that she saw. And Robin went from 0 parties in her calendar for November to 4 parties in November, 1 vendor event, 2 parties in December, and a vendor event. And quite honestly, it happened at the end of the program, didn't it, Robin? She got a lot of no's in those first 10 or 11 days. And a lot of people would have given up. But because she did it, she's got a full calendar and is working on, y'all want to see the jacket live and real? It is so awesome. Hold on a minute. I'm in a hotel short, so y'all, okay, first off, it is way nicer than you would ever imagine. It's like a neoprene on the outside with the inside fleece lining. At least you can touch it. So this is the jacket. Got little pockets here. I believe the sizes run a little tight. This is an extra large. And I'm about a size 10, 12. I'm really probably a good 12. Probably not 10 very often. I want to be a 10. I want to be an 8 or 6 like I used to be. But it is so nice. It's got a little bit of give. This is the woman's cut. There's a boxier cut that goes, it'll be cut much larger. And it's got a very nice, very thin fleece lining. And let me tell you, it is probably retail, I would guess, $100 jacket if you were to go and buy it like at Under Armour or something like that. It is, my husband couldn't believe it. He's like, I would totally wear that jacket. And it's really nice. So 2 parties get you Miss Brown, 3 parties get you that super cool tote bag, and 4 parties get you this. Make sure you get them in before the end of the month. So any last minute stuff? All right. Well, we will look forward to talking to you guys Tuesday, 11:30, 12:30 Eastern, okay? Call me if you need me, all right? Take care, everybody.
Thanks, Lori.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks, Lori.